Well, hello. Hello. This is another episode of The Power of Your Story. And my name is LaQuita Parks. And I am here today with my guest, Curtis Abrams Jr. And today we are going to talk about protecting your peace. How are you protecting your peace? So, a little bit about me. I am here every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm the owner of PayPro V Publishing. PayPro V means pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there is no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I help you take your story from a thought to a realization because, I believe that everybody has a story. And everybody does have a story, whether you believe that or not. Everybody has a story. 100% of everybody living and dead has a story. And so, helping you to tell your story and share your story, that's what I do. What part of your story you want to tell is up to you. Sometimes we need a little help because you can't put every aspect of your story into a book. So I help people take their stories from a thought to a realization. And I absolutely love doing that. And so I also like having conversations with people because there's always somebody waiting on the other side of your story so that they can get healing from their story. So peace is important. It is absolutely important. I mean, if you don't have peace, you are lost because you have to have peace. And I keep reading these things, Curtis, where people say, "Well, if somebody's disturbing your peace, get rid of them."
That's
If
right.
somebody challenges your peace, get rid of them. Sometimes it's necessary to kind of get a little uncomfortable. And
That's right.
sometimes when we're uncomfortable, our peace is disturbed while we're going through that transformational process.
That's right.
It shouldn't stay disturbed. It should not stay disturbed. So today
Mhm.
I am excited to have my guest Curtis Abrams here, and he has written an interesting book. He has the T-shirt on. He has the what is it, a
Yay!
sweatshirt, right?
Yes.
And so he has written this fabulous book called Kurt Stride. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you
There
go.
you go.
The natural instincts of solitude for the self, SELF.
Hmm.
And I tell you, you are in for a treat. So, Curtis, first of all, I know you're in a hotel. So, are you on vacation? Where you at?
Oh my goodness! Why you have to tell somebody that?
Hey, I'm sorry. We're just calling
Just
it out.
wide open. Yes, I'm in a
We're just
hotel.
calling out. I'm like,
It's a 3 star. It's a 3 star. Now
it's a
I am
three
at
star. Okay.
I'm in Panama City Beach in Florida. What's happening is they got this bike week thing going on,
What?
and
You're
a
a biker?
lot of motorcycles just rum. They got their own little self awareness, if you will, about trying to get things together and have people around, what have you. And I tell you, the hotel rates just went jacked up a little bit. So I'm like,
Wow.
hey, just put me somewhere. I'm what you call a self-employed person when it comes to independent contracting work for
Hmm.
claims adjusters in the Panhandle area. So instead of going way back home to Tallahassee, I decided to stay in the room tonight so that I can go back up early in the morning, doing whatever I can to, make the thing possible and appease people for their coverage for their insurance.
Okay.
I'm like
Appease
a little
people.
tiny engine that keeps going. So, but I
Okay.
want to drive
Okay.
home, so it was cool.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So it's kind of rest before you go to the next step.
Yes,
So you're not really on vacation. So
there
you're not
you
one of
go.
the bikers, right? You're not
Yes.
you're not one of the
Oh
bikers.
no, the noise is just so imminent. It's like, wow, man, it's amazing. It's like every time you talk, it's rum. It's like the noise that attracts you. I even put that in my book about distractions. Noise.
Okay, yes, yes. Distractions are real. They are
Yeah, it's
real.
like, man, come on. We understand it's bike week, but come on, we still got lives to live in that place. But hey, whatever the tourist event is, hey, I'm a praise with all that stuff. Plus, summertime's
Okay.
coming anyway. So
Okay,
yeah,
absolutely. I have some friends that are bikers and they live for Bike Week, I tell you.
yeah,
So tell
yeah.
tell us a little bit about you. Tell us,
Okay.
I know you're in
Mhm.
Florida right now, but that's not
Yes.
where you're from. Where are you from?
I am from Alabama, which is Tuscaloosa, which is Roll Tide country for you people that don't know about sports, whatever. We ain't none but winners, so I'm just gonna leave it as that. But
All I do is win, win, win,
yeah,
no
yeah,
matter what.
there you go. Hey, that's part of being a self-aware person is winning the game. Doesn't matter how you win, but you win it. Okay.
Hey.
So, but yeah, I'm from the lower part of the middle part of downtown Birmingham, like a little bit below Birmingham. It's called Tuscaloosa, and it's a pretty nice area. University of Alabama is there. Mercedes is there. Everything is cool. So I came from there, born and raised, went to school there, went to college there, joined the military when I got out, toured the world per se. And a lot about the world I've learned as well. Oh my God, it's unbelievable that you can understand and get equated with people that you never met. Got back from the military, went back to Alabama, got involved into sales, marketing. I got involved in car sales. Once that was done, then something just told me in an epiphany manner to just elevate yourself to where you at. Sometimes you can work somewhere and be somewhere. You have this preconceived notion of not being content to where you need to be. I don't care how much money you make when it comes to that work. If you're not content, you're never going to understand what that realization is to enjoy the happiness. So what I decided to do was I wanted to try a new, venture, agenda, whatever. And I know in my heart that something just told me to take a leap, meaning leaving town if I had to start a fresh start and go from there. So I got involved into what was called home adjusting and home claims, and it's interesting because it's real estate related. I loved it. And what I did was I just decided to, leave Alabama and I'm in Tallahassee, which is about 5 hours away. It's not that bad. And for the first time ever, I decided to grow for the betterment of proliferation. I just wanted to see what it's like to do things on your own, to try to see what you can do to manifest yourself into many ways. A lot of people can't do this. I understand people sometimes get subjected and get kind of like used to having a connection to people one-on-one. They have to have one after the other. I never had that. I just do it on my own. And I took that leap, and I'm very content to where I'm at. Now, I'm not going to say it's heaven compared to where I've been, but at least for once, I have no distractions, okay, to bother me, to have these, innuendos that gets into my way of trying to realize my true value, my true self. And now, for the first time, I can actually grow to where I needed to be. And I'm not that far from Alabama. I'm just about 5 hours away. So I do frequently go back and forth to check on my family as well. So.
Okay. I like that you said something that makes a whole lot of sense. You said if you don't like what you do, it's it doesn't matter what it is. If you don't like it, you're not gonna be happy.
No, you won't. It has a lot to do with just the fact of finding something inner from how you are with things. See, I mean, yeah, you're gonna make the money, but money is made to be spent. And I'm not knocking anybody on trying to elevate themselves by making a source of income. But the way I see it, you can just get a simple house and have a simple work job and have things for yourself. But if that's your DNA, if that is your vernacular to make that availability for you, then go for it. Because if you make the money and you're not happy, then money can do crazy, strange things, as well as anything that you could think of. So if you're content to the direction of where you're going, then you don't have to look for a fortune or anything else that makes you feel good. In other words, don't worry about what other people are perceiving towards you because of that purpose. Just do what's best for yourself at first. Once you get yourself acclimated and wonderful for the things you go for, then the growth will eventually work on its own. But you got to be ready to do something like that. And it's not easy, but it can be done.
Yeah, I like that because everybody has their own idea of comfort. What comfort is for them. Comfort for me might be different for you.
Yes.
And, I could be comfortable with a little small house, with a little small car, with very little bills. And somebody else might think that comfort is extravagance. And that can lead to, sometimes trying to live up to that extravagant lifestyle can be its own stress. And it can also cause you to fade quickly. My mama used to say, trying to keep up with the Joneses.
There you go.
so knowing, and I think that's important. And all of those things invade your peace. And those are things that I think those are things that you bring on yourself. Trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to live above your means and live up to what somebody else's standards might be. But when you trying to, hone in what's good for LaQuita, what works for LaQuita, then I control my own peace.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm trying to compare my life and trying to mimic, so to speak, what somebody else is doing, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. We're trying to mimic the outside picture, because you can't mimic the inside picture, because you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. You're standing on the other side of the window and you looking in and you see, because that window sometimes is not all that clear. You
Mm-hmm.
think it's
Absolutely.
glass, but it's plexiglass, and it's
It
not all
is.
that clear. And as you're looking, you're seeing images, but those images are not what it really is. And then
Right.
you're trying to live up to the images that you're seeing, and therefore you lose your peace.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people struggle and they never find that peace. They keep going and building other things, and let me pile this on, and let me pile this on. I
Mm-hmm.
think this will make me happy. I think this will
Mm-hmm.
help me with my peace, and it
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that. I'm telling you, I like that. I like peace. That peace. The Bible
Mm-hmm.
says a peace that passes all understanding.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Wonderful when it comes down to that. I like that. That's
I
understandable.
love it. So
They,
tell me. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, I just want to say, like, you know, where the energy flows, that's where the focus goes. And you got to say to yourself,
I'm gonna write that down. I'm sorry.
garnering your sympathy is one thing, but it's another thing to not get, and we kept saying distracted all this time that we've done on the video. But if you allow the distractions to get to you, the focus, the tunnel vision, okay, of where you see within yourself, it's not going to be trajected the way that you're intended to become. So when you say peace, Miss Parks, peace is kind of like a readily accessible way of saying that you want to create something for you. And sometimes it's really not that simple to garner that way of trying to become subjective when you're trying to create something of your own. It's not that easy. We
Mhm.
live in a world of we make mistakes and people attend to it. It's like you make a mistake and people are going to go with the threshold of you making a mistake more than anything else. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like when you say peace, right? What kind of peace are you looking for? What kind of peace that you're deserving to have? Is it effective? Is it habitual? Is it something that you have to go through something in order to relax? Is there a reward to a risk? Is there a reinforcement to a effort? So it's kind of like
So I'm sorry, let me ask you a question. So when you said that, so immediately my mind went to, are there
mhm.
different types of peace?
No, no,
So
no, no. I'm not trying to subject peace within itself, but
no, no, no. I know that, but I'm saying as I'm listening, you
mhm,
said what type of peace are you trying to have? And
right.
so my mind went, okay, that's
Okay.
pretty good. And
Hmm.
that's important. That's a
Hmm.
good question. That's a really
Hmm.
good question. And
Hmm.
that's one that we have to ask ourselves,
Hmm.
not only what kind of peace are you trying to have, but at what price?
Right. I
You
guess
got
the
to
way
consider
I
the
guess the way I
price.
look at it is like, okay, there's your vacation, and then there's your when you get off work every day and you want to relax type thing. Then there's that big old word called decompression, you know, and we love to have that. I think it's important that if we don't find the peace that we're trying to look for, and if we don't find it in a great direction that we're trying to encompass, then we're just going to be mentally scarred. And what I mean by scarred, it's like we're trying to, like you said earlier, you alluded to about putting things on top of one another, just because of the fact that you trying to find some sort of a logical way of relaxing because you're going through something. And the way I see it, you got to work. You got to make a challenge for yourself. You got to what you're doing right now with the podcast, what I'm doing with the book. These are challenges that are very insurmountable and something we love to have. We like to make a point. Always make a point with a story.
Hmm.
This is where you want to make a story with a point. Once the story comes around, no matter what you do, then and only then you want to acquire yourself on finding your peace. Now, let me say this too. There are people in this world, including myself, that okay, we do the nails and the hair and the feet and all that stuff, the pampering and all that. Some people don't want to do that. They want to keep on going forward. They want to keep working. They want to start one task and do another one. Start one task and do another one. This is where the element of discipline comes in. When you discipline yourself by achieving a goal and then going to another goal, into another goal, into another goal, what you're saying is when the time is right for you to acquire your peace, then
Mhm.
it will be essentially rewarded for you. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say a filmmaker, I'm not going to mention his name, he works his butt off 9 days a month, no matter what. But the remaining 3 months, he rests. See, everybody has their different elements on trying to rest and relax. You need that. You really do. And I'm glad it's been mentioned to that. But see, there's that mental peace that you want to have while you're just working your butt off. Then
Mhm.
there's that spiritual peace that you would like to
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
when the going gets tough around you.
Mhm.
That's why a lot of people don't gravitate to people, let's say, who are trying to help the community, who are spreading the awareness or trying to, create stories for folks. They
Mhm.
move into how that acclimates to someone who's trying to understand their magnitude and their mentality on how to handle things. Sometimes we get crazy and we just blow things up, and we're supposed
Yeah.
to feel sorry for these people. We don't, but we're supposed to show care and concern because they want to blow up. Listen, don't blow up. Just breathe for once, relax, and things will come into fruition. That's that internal piece that I kind of explained in this book as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
I
how.
want so that's a good segment. So tell us about that book. You have a
Mhm.
lot of great tidbits and including what we just talked about.
Okay,
So tell us about the book and
okay.
how did you get that? That's a very interesting name.
Thank you.
Definitely one you don't have to worry about somebody already having. So if
I
you
know.
look and you know that nobody else has the name of that book. Nobody. That's not a book that says Tim Jones
Right.
or Run Jane Run or Run. Dick and Jane went to the store.
Oh
That's
my
not that
God.
book. That's not that book. So first, I want to know how
Okay.
did you come up with the name? Why the name? And then tell us
Okay.
about the book.
Okay. Um. Well, stride just basically means that you taking life one step at a time. And no matter how successful or failure, which I don't consider failure a failure, I just call it a lesson. No matter what you go through in life, you're going to have to take it one step at a time. If you go too fast, vastly, you're never going to make what you need to make because you're trying to prove something to somebody and not to your own. And then you see something that's a crystal ball. Life happens in a step, slow trajectory in terms of the swift ways of life. The more steps you take, you can look around yourself and you can learn yourself more and more into the facets of what life brings upon you. And a lot of people are not doing that. They see something in front of them and they try to go for it. No, before you do that, take a look, learn about your surroundings before you actually go out to go for any challenges. And
Mm,
Kirk stride, meaning it could be anybody with a stride. It could be a Quita stride. It could be a Joe Blow stride. It could be a Tom Jones stride. When you put stride next to your name, it just simply means you are taking the steps of what life is bringing upon you. Be slow with it, but be very, very meticulously careful with that. So I'll just put it to combine together and made a curse stride. And like you said before, it was something unique that I guess nobody else had to do with. So that's why I came with the name. And it's going to stick to me. I'm going to try to get a city name after this. I'm going to try
all
to get
right
a
now.
restaurant name after it, a movie or
All right now. All
or,
right
or,
now.
or teeth or
Change
glasses.
the world.
It don't
Change the
matter.
world.
So the word Kurt Stride is going to be synonymous. But everybody has a name, a ego, a what is it called? The Sasha Fierce thing, the alter ego.
Alter
Everybody has
ego.
something
I have
that
one.
belongs to you. That belongs
Yes.
to you, and this is yours. Now, the element of the book itself, and what I wanted to do was for the first time ever, I wanted to reach out to you. This everybody when they do, and I want you to listen very carefully. A lot of people when they do their first books, it's always almost about them, what they've been through, how they're going to manifest through things, and how can it reach out going back to you in terms of whatever you can learn and listen. I tried it in a different format. I tried it in a different 360 format. Kurt Stride, The Journey of True Solitude for the Self, has nothing really to do with me at all. It has a lot to do with you. And what I mean by you is that little child that just don't understand what the value of growing up is. That teenager that gets bullied all the time simply because he doesn't understand his conversation piece and his elements of the world.
Hmm. Hmm.
That grown person that's going through a problem with their kids, they wish they didn't have a child from his mom, they wish they were single, whatever, and they're by themselves, they don't know what to do. The single moms that's going through a tough time with their kids because they're going through a tough time. And I get plenty of phone calls with people with having kid issues and stuff to do with that nature when it comes to single stuff. The elderly, people who are thinking that their ageism is bothering them because they figure they're so alone by themselves. They understand what it's like to work by yourself. And
Right.
in the end of life, what that means is everybody's going to die, and we need to learn how to overcome that or endure it as much as possible. Everything about the status quo is in this book. Everything. As a matter of fact, I really believe that this book is going to last probably for a quite long time. I want it to last about 100 years or 200 years. I don't say nothing about today's trending events. I don't say anything about any military propaganda. I put a slight religious preferences in this book, but in all fairness, this book is pertaining to everybody. It's 300 pages long. And if you read this, you're going to get a different perspective of you in the mirror. I guarantee it. It's like throwing water in your face and realizing the focal point of where you at and where you believe in yourself too, because everybody has creativity. Everybody has this effective communication and power and everything else. So we need to know what the survival rate is, but at the same time, we need to know internally how we can come with this. And that's why the book was made for you, the people out there who's watching this or who's not watching this, that can understand that you are important, you are special, you are who you are in this mirror. And let me tell you something else too, LaQuita. There are people in this world that don't want to hear the truth. They don't want, they care less about how it is when it comes to the truth. When you throw it in their face, they don't know how to react to it. Matter of fact, they'll have a side face and mask that identity against you because you are telling what they need to hear. That's where the mental health capacity comes in. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense for you to understand that there are people out there who know you better than you. And you just don't want to simply hear these things. We're talking about politicians. We're talking about athletes. We're talking about preachers. We're talking
about people who live right in their houses.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. They care less about what they want to hear. So if you put a book like this out to them, and like I said, it's not propaganda. It's just a basic element of simplicity of who you are and what you can represent. Nothing more, nothing less. I ain't making it fancy, ain't through no dramas in this stuff, not that many pictures in it. It's something that you need to check out and read. I really, really recommend you to get this. I put some time in it, but I really believe if you look into the elements of life, like right here, that's the eagle. That's perception. You are the eagle. The eagles fly high on there's nobody up there that flies better than the eagle. Y'all know that.
That's
because
you got your pigeons. Than anybody.
You got your pigeons at the bottom. You got your pigeons that don't want to rise up. They want to stay pigeons. You got your parakeets that like to wah, 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 run their mouth. But this eagle, he has a different shift of focus. Then you got the shark right here that's underneath the surface of life. That's where the mentality, the shark is the smartest animal in the sea. Mm-hmm. He understands about the depressions and the anxieties and stuff. And you're going to face it head on. You are on your own. You're the shark. And when you're the lion right here, guess what? Growl. You roam the jungle. You roam the jungle. It's your life. It's your territory. No one is better than your world. You got the fear. You got the success. You got the failure. You got the confidence. Sexual urges bothers you sometimes. Everything that you need to know is in here throughout these animals. That person right there in the center pressing is you living through these animals vicariously. Mm-hmm. Kurt Stride. Now,
go ahead.
Just one thing. The self part of it, SELF, okay, is worth mentioning. S stands for shark. E stands for eagle. L stands for lion. And F stands for the form. There you go.
Wow. I like that breakdown. So what made you, I guess you probably answered that, but I want you to answer it again. What made you decide, first of all, what made you decide to write a book? This is your first book, right?
Yeah, this is my first ever book.
Okay. So what made you decide to write a book, that book?
Okay. When I was in college, I did some writing for newspapers and articles. And I was also an avid screenwriter too. Not a professional screenwriter, just writing stuff, whatever. I just like writing. I really did. And I've always wanted to write something that I can actually have a focus and have a unique sense of perception of other people and their actions into one instead of my actions. Because if I write a book about me, it's going to be way longer than that. And it's going to be like a chronicle, blah, blah, blah. But we're not talking about me now. When that time comes, I'll make it. But I always wanted to write something to not only facilitate a chance of getting with people with consequence problems that they can probably solve, but I've always wanted to get in to understand why people act the way they do in a society format, in a sociological format. I studied sociological formats in college. I've learned about how to do precepts when it comes to behavior psychology in school as well. I learned those things. And what I come to find out is everything stems from a beginning or something that you've been through in the past that creates you are where you are right now. No one is the same. No one is any same than anybody else, you know? And the way I see it, you still got life to live. So what I wanted to do was to narrate it like as if I'm looking at something, even in nature, I'm talking as I see things.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of using my, head knowledge-wise by listening to myself talking through people vicariously, I'd rather just write it down. Like
Mm-hmm.
this man is homeless and he's homeless because of whatever. This child is crying because this child is yada yada. Or LaQuita Parks started a podcast because she has this, desire to do something. I wanted to write something down to give to the people so then other people can learn from this. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted this book to hit every element of everybody's agenda, if it's possible.
Young and old.
Young and old, yes, all throughout. Like from
Mm-hmm.
that little child on up to the adult. I mean, to the elderly. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
want to. And maybe 100 years from now, we're both long gone. Maybe this book still stands. Wow, this
It's
book is
still, yeah,
$5 or 5 cents somewhere, and they're like, man, this is interesting because
pretty
it's
cool.
hitting the insightfulness of me. It's not
Mm-hmm.
talking about Curtis. It's talking about me, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to do. It's like giving back.
You know,
It's
I appreciate that you said that with the book. One of the things that you said was
mhm,
when with people, um,
mhm.
you have whatever you whoever you are right now. There
Yes,
was
ma'am.
a foundation. There was a reason. There's a
Mhm,
reason why that man is laying out on the street.
mhm.
There's a reason why that woman is laying out on the street, or somebody
Yes,
sleeping on
ma'am.
the bridge, or this person is the CEO, or this person is the
Mhm.
janitor, or whatever. There's a
Right.
reason. Everything that we go through, there is a
Mhm,
reason for why we are where we are right now.
mhm,
And it makes us who we are. Whatever
mhm,
happened in our lives, it shaped us and
mhm.
formed us for who we are. And for the little ones, it's shaping and forming them for who they are to become.
Right.
And it takes a lot to go through trauma,
Mhm.
to go through trauma. And you don't always have to, grow up in trauma where there's some type of abuse. You can grow up. I know people who have had, great homes. They've been, lived a really good life.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that there was a death. Their mom died and it shook their
Mhm.
world. Their dad died, it shook their
Yes,
world.
ma'am.
And things were still good financially. Things were still good. Mama might have remarried, and
Mhm.
stepdad was the best thing since wheat bread. But there's still
Yes,
that
ma'am.
loss,
Yes, ma'am.
and that loss and that missing shapes you for who you are. And at the same time, it also has that mental. It gives you a mental block and
Yes, ma'am.
teaches you what to do and how to react to people.
Yes, ma'am.
So I like that books. I know you said you wanted to share some of the things in the book.
Yeah,
Don't
sure.
share the whole book because we want them to go and buy the book.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine. I was saying earlier that I wanted to like just say a couple of things about the book.
Mhm,
I haven't really done it on these other things I've done, but
mhm.
the book itself it talks also about like statistics. I want to read y'all just not that much stuff, but statistics from Cigna says that 61% of Americans are lonely in the year 2020. In 2018, that number was 54%. And then I also want to say that loneliness and isolation has similar effects on health as being obese, an alcoholic, or smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wait,
And
wait, wait. I'm sorry. Go back to that statistics.
okay, the
Say that
first one,
again.
yeah, it's 61%. The statistics come from a company called Cigna,
Mhm,
Cigna.
mhm,
61% of Americans are lonely in 2020. And it might have something to do with the coronavirus. It could have
Well,
something
I
to
was
do.
getting ready to say, if that was 2020
Right.
and there was the
Hmm.
social distancing, and there was the
Right.
lockdown that we were all under as a country,
Hmm.
as the whole world,
Right.
and there were all those people. There were a lot of people who lived alone,
Hmm.
and they thrived by getting out and being
Hmm.
able to connect with people and then come back home. Can
I
you
know.
imagine what the statistics are now?
I know. I
Things are
know.
starting to open up a little bit
There
more,
you go.
but
It's
the
documented.
statistics in 2020, if it was 61% in
Yeah.
2020, I can
Yep.
only imagine that it had to go up by 20% at least.
Woo. Yeah.
That's a
Well,
lot.
a couple of years
I can
ago,
only
yeah, it was
imagine.
54%.
Wow, wow.
Loneliness is more harmful than non-exercising. It's
Hmm.
more harmful according to them. And another thing I want to put out, as far as social media, 34% of children aged 12 to 17 admit to being cyberbullied. And that's important, you know what I'm saying? Because of things that
Hmm.
are happening on the internet. When
Hmm.
social media is used to escape social interaction, it increases loneliness. That's what it says. And one more I want to read. Hold on a second. Um, okay. Okay, the work related. It says lonely workers say that they're less engaged, less productive, and report lower retention rates because 39% feel like they must hide their true self at work. My phone's acting up. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
It does it on its own. Okay, as I was saying, let me go back here. Okay, lonely workers said they're less engaged, less productive, and report lower retention rates because 39% feel that they must hide their true self at work, and 32% of men and 23% of women feel abandoned by coworkers when they're under pressure. Those are things I just wanted to bring out to you with that because there's always a comprehensive approach towards your true value. And you got to understand something, people. You know, you got to enjoy everything in life in the short term. You have to. So,
Hmm.
you know, discipline equals deterrent.
Hmm.
If you have discipline within yourself, no matter what you go through in life, it's going to make you avoid things that you don't need to avoid. It's problematic if you allow yourself to become lonely. Just because you're alone does not mean you're lonely.
That's right.
It means that you're by yourself. And now, for the first time, no one is around to get into your head, into your heart,
Hmm.
into your soul.
Hmm.
Now it's like, what can I do to better myself? A lot of
Hmm.
people don't know how to attend to that. They don't know how to go to an impromptu way of finding their true value. I mean, you could just walk to the woods, or walk to the nature, or walk to the oceans, or walk to the mountains. Some people think it's boring as hell, but some people think it's a meaningful thing to have for mentality reasons. And I explained in
Hmm.
the book about not forgiveness. Well, forgiveness is in the book too, but about restoration and
Hmm.
meditation,
Hmm.
because it's important for you to open up your true value. Some people just don't tend to do that. They've been really washed up mentally with distractions. I keep saying
Right.
distractions.
Right.
Distractions is the reason why people are readily apparent towards their negativity. See, LaQuita, negativity seems easier to acquire and to get through rather than trying to learn your true message about yourself. Let me give
Hmm.
you an example. Look, don't ever, ever, and please listen to this, people. Don't ever worry about if somebody likes you or not. Don't worry about that.
That's a message to the, I was going to say that's a good message to the young people, but
Yes,
that's a good message to anybody.
yes.
I had a conversation today where we spend a lot of time, especially when I'm working with people to tell
Hmm.
their stories. We
Hmm.
spend a lot of time. I have a lot of my clients who say, "Well, I was looking at this book and I was looking at this book and I was looking at this book and I was researching and I was seeing." There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with research. We have to do research. I know you had to do research for your book. There's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that. As long as the research that you're doing is not causing you to compare their work to your potential work
Hmm.
as theirs is better than yours and you can't do
Oh
better.
no, oh no.
That's
I
there
never, I
that
never.
that's the problem. You have to not worry about what somebody else has done. You have to put your uniqueness in it. And as children, and that's the with the world,
Yes,
especially,
ma'am.
I was going to
Yes,
say
ma'am.
women, but men too.
Yeah.
Women are a lot of times concerned, especially young people. I work with a
Yeah.
lot of teenagers
Oh, okay.
who are
Okay.
concerned about, my hair isn't long like hers, or my
Hmm.
skin isn't light skin or dark skin, or
Right.
I'm
Right.
too
Right.
thin, I'm too thick, or
Hmm.
because they're patterning themselves
Right.
as, the models, and they try to mimic whoever they see. And when they feel rejected, then it
Hmm.
comes off as, she doesn't like me, he doesn't like me, let me do something else to make them like me.
Hmm.
Let me do something else to make myself look different so that I can gain their approval and they can
Hmm.
like me. So I think that's really important, because sometimes we're seeking, young people, and that disturbs your peace. We're seeking the approval. And I'm glad you said about cyberbullying. You
Hmm.
know, businesses, entrepreneurs, we're on social media all the time.
All the time.
And you see some of that bullying, where even if it's very subtle, but it's in the form of, my business is better than yours, or there's a competition. And it should not be, because
Mm-mm.
so I'm a publisher,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I own a publishing company. I
Okay.
love helping people, and I have multiple clients from here to California, Belgium, Australia. I deal with clients internationally. And when I'm working with them, I have people to say all the time, you know what?
Hmm.
I know this publisher, or I know another publisher, and that's fine, because there's a Burger King and a McDonald's on every corner.
Come on.
And I may not like
Yeah.
McDonald's today, I might like it tomorrow, but everybody eating burgers. And
Hmm.
I consider myself, I'm not perfect, but I consider myself to be a pretty good publisher, and I have a really good client base. It
Hmm.
does not matter. I can publish all day long, every day, 24/7 for the rest of my life. And I will never be able to publish everybody's story.
Hmm.
Nor will everybody who has a story want me to publish their stories. And
Hmm.
that's okay, because there's a billion people on the planet. And what works for one group might not work for another group.
Right.
Everybody living won't purchase your book. And just like you said earlier, the people who are listening, who in their gut will say that's some good information, but because they're stubborn in heart, they don't want to hear what you have to say. They are resistant to feedback. They're not going to receive it.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
from that one, there are tens of thousands who will and say, wow, that's the message I've been waiting for. That's the book. Let me go and get this book. Let me, Kurt Stride, let me go and get this. That's the
Thank you.
truth.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And going through the process, all of that, trying to figure out the ups and the downs of life,
Mhm.
and not having that balance, is what disturbs the peace.
Right.
There's no way for you to find the peace. So I'm loving. I haven't purchased your book yet, but I've got to get the book. I've got to
Thank
get
you.
that book. Is it like a work? It seems like it's like a workbook. So
I'm
you have
working on
steps
that.
in what to do. Okay, all
I'm
right.
working on
I
that.
think
I'm
we talked
working on
about
it.
that, didn't we?
Well, I will say this: the book was originally 450 pages long,
Okay.
and it was just some stuff that I needed. Actually, there was a workbook chapter on there that I was going to put the day in life of a loner. As you wake up in the morning, you do this, you cook, you work
Mhm,
out, you
mhm,
meditate. You,
mhm,
I didn't think
mhm,
it was necessary. I said I could just probably parlay that
mhm,
juxtaposition wise
mhm.
with something else, like probably a workbook or
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
absolutely,
So that's what I was thinking. Uh,
absolutely.
I want to say something about competition. You just alluded to
Mhm,
earlier.
mhm.
The competition is digestible. It's very digestible. It's. I mean, you got to look at it in the scope, Miss Parks, as you can't look at it as one is doing better than the other,
Right.
because competition is actually good for you. You know what I mean? Because it gravitates to people. People have their selections of where they need to go, and there's nothing better than having something that you can perceive that it can make you a lot more in challenge or encouraging and challenging
Mhm.
for something versus somebody else that's going diminished down and up. You know, in economics, they call it a monopolistic competition, where one's trying to take over the whole entire
Right,
surface of it all. You want
right.
to kind of keep it available for that and everything. There was one time that I was thinking that, what, I know my book name may not reach everybody, but if it can reach that one person, one person, one person, that's all you need. because it's one thing to be heard, but it's another thing to be felt. If you
Mm,
can feel
mm.
something, it digestion is a lot more than how it is. I don't look at my book as an overnight one time. Let me tell you, I do not want to bring Will Smith's name into this. I'm trying not to.
Well,
But when this man wrote his book, Will, okay, of course, he's the popular guy. He's the one everybody knows. People are going to gravitate to him because he's the well-known person that becomes
right,
one. You expect him to be number one.
right.
But then you got this little engine called Curtis Abrams that no one's ever heard of. No one's ever thought of. No one probably would never hear like a Will Smith thing. That's competition in a way that it doesn't bother me. It will bother some people mentally.
Right, right.
Here's what I want to tell those people who are trying to go up into the world of creativity and restoration in life. First of all, don't worry about a Will Smith, okay?
Or LaQuita. Don't worry about Curtis. Just do
Get your
you.
mind
Do
off them
you.
because it's only because they know some people, they know some things, they just got a lot more knowledge of things better
They
than
got a lot more
you are.
finances to
But
push behind it.
that doesn't make them better. It just makes them to a point that they'll focus on where you are right now. And maybe you can learn from somebody like that.
Mhm.
But for me, I didn't look at he made more and he's going to get more sellings of his book. But I looked at it as an engine that can keep me going. See, the moment you focus on Curtis Abrams and not focus on Will or anybody else that writes books, what have you, and everything, the moment you're going to see things that never been seen and done before in your mindset, in your headspace, in your livelihood. But a lot of people don't tend to that. The internet, they do TikTok dances, girl. You know why? Because they want to be liked.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be liked.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be liked, but it depends on how you handle the likeness of your true value. Okay? If one person, now when I put my videos on there, because I do videos on Facebook and all that stuff,
I've seen them.
I don't do nothing but 12, 13, maybe even 2.
Mhm.
But I can guarantee you, if I shake my butt, do my thing, do my dances, and if I don't know, but if I do outrageously stuff, I may get maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000 for silliness. And it doesn't bother me that I get less likes than that, but it just amazes me that visualization and perception gets that way mentally because they're looking for that high. They're looking for that interface of how they feel right then and there. It's like a cigarette. Once it goes away, then it's back to where it is.
And it's all temporary.
Right. At least your message, Quita, and my message is going to permeate. It's going to marinate. It's going to stick. 12 years from now, this conversation we're having will probably stand versus that TikTok dance. A good friend told me this one time. Listen to this. The old lady sitting outside and she's looking at the neighborhood. That car passes by and says hi and drives away. That's kind of what Facebook is now. Facebook is like that. But you want them to drive out and get into the house and see how you are and everything. I'm hearing certain social medias are like that. That instant gratification people like to have is only temporary. You know that and I know that. I don't have to tend to that. If they know who Curtis Abrams is and speaking out the message such as you or Will Smith or anybody else, then I'm fine. One person is going to understand the meaning of my message. And that's all I need. That's it. I don't need nothing else from you. So you want to do competition, do it. If you want to be better than me, do it. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep living. I'm going to keep doing Curtis. I'm going to keep helping people out. And I'm sorry, that's just my spiritual guidance. That's my love language. I'm just going to have an act of helping people.
And you know what? And that's your story and you sticking to it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I do. I love it because people will people will look at what you're doing and say, okay, you know what? They will secretly they will be in your cheerleader corner and they will secretly say, I can do better than that.
Right.
I can do better than that. And they will aim to do it secretly, but you have to, you can't be responsible for them. No, I can't be responsible for what anybody else does. You know, I think that it is a blessing for me to be in this space at this time. I absolutely love working with people. I have an abundance of clients who have different stories. And within those stories, they have each had to find their own piece.
Yes, ma'am.
And within me working with them, I have to find my own peace too.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, as a little girl of 4 years old, going into the hospital to have my tonsils removed, while I was there, tonsillectomy was a success. The nurse came into my room, jabbed me in the thigh with a needle. I was
Oh,
the wrong patient. I was
oh,
the wrong patient.
okay.
My mom was not there. My mom had went to check on my sisters. When my
Hmm.
mom came back, she met them rushing me to the OR to amputate my leg.
Oh
They
my
told my
goodness.
mom that if they did not amputate my leg would burst and I would die. Well, while in surgery, they found they didn't have to do that. They removed the bone to relieve the pressure, but they told my mom I would never walk again. So through from that point to the age of 14, I had surgery every year on my right leg and foot. And that surgery started the first one, the jab, I call it the jab. It started a tsunami effect, a medical tsunami that has not yet ended. Now,
Okay.
I don't know a day without pain since I was 11, since I was 4 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
So I deal with pain because I have connective tissue diseases. I deal with pain every single day of my life. Now, here's the thing. You can't, if I didn't tell you that story, you wouldn't be able to look at me and tell, would you?
Not at all.
And
Not
if
at
I
all.
and unless I tell the story or somebody sees my legs or sees me walk, they can tell that there's something wrong.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
if I have a long skirt on, they can't tell.
Yes, ma'am.
um, I have debilitating diseases, and I had to make a choice. What do I do? Do I give in to that, or do I allow it to catapult me to an area where I'm able to use my story to help other people get through
Absolutely.
their story? I'm a no excuses kind of person.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that life happens. I love your book because it's a no excuses kind of book.
Yes, ma'am.
It removes the excuses. It removes the I can'ts and turns them into I cans. It gives it an opportunity for people to be better, for you to grow. And I think that's why we're here. If I'm doing something, if I'm working with you, if you're my client or my friend, and I see an opportunity for you to grow, and I don't say anything, then shame on me. Because not only do I not help you grow, I stifle my own growth.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what
Absolutely.
happens in businesses when people are trying to compete instead of seeing, you know what, we can work together. I connected with this woman in Australia, and
Yes.
she found me through I Am Magazine. I write for I Am Magazine, so
Okay.
she saw my story in this international magazine, and she reached out to me, and she was like, wow, she is a transformational speaking coach,
Amen.
and I'm a publisher, and I am a coaching writing coach and communicate writing coaching and development. And she reached out to me, and she could have said, okay, we do the same thing. She just does it for the written word, I do it for the actual presentation. But she reached out to me, and she asked me, she said, do you think we could work together? We could do something or collaborate? Absolutely. And because she didn't see me as competition and I don't see her as competition, we were able and are able to have a collaboration. And she's across the world. She's in Australia. So we collaborate on storytelling. So when we miss opportunities when we're looking at everybody as competition. You have a book. Your book is a best-selling book, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So your book is a best-selling book because it's sold on Amazon and they recognize you, and it's sold an abundance of copies,
Yes.
and you receive the bestseller, and that's a huge accomplishment.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations.
I appreciate
But
it.
people should not look at people who, there are some people and say, you know what, well, my book isn't a bestseller, so I give up. No, why?
No.
Why? Because here's the thing. I have people coming to me all the time saying, how do I get on the New York Times bestseller list? Well, I see Will Smith is there. Well, because Will Smith is Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah is Oprah. They
Right.
have million people followers.
Mm-hmm. That's the only
And
difference.
and they have the finances to back their book and to market their book and to do all those things.
And
You too,
co-writers,
and
co-writers.
co-writers, you can. I don't want people to think you can't get on the New York Times bestseller, but this is how you do it. And so instead of saying, let me reach for this, that's a great goal. But here's the thing: you can be an Amazon bestseller,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't make the Amazon bestseller, you can make the Amazon top seller.
Mm-hmm.
And how about this? You can also market your own book. I have a
Amen.
one of my authors who is a children's book. I've published three of his children's book, and we co-wrote one together. Do you know he's making $200 to $300 a day on his books
As a
because
footnote,
he markets, you know what I'm saying? So looking at people and saying the
yeah.
competition, you do what
Hmm.
works for you, because I can't get out there because my schedule doesn't allow it to do XYZ. You're all over the place. You're talking to people, you're marketing your book, you're letting people know,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
your book has substance. And not only does it have substance, there is a message in there
Yes,
that
ma'am.
our people need to hear, not just black people, white people, all people need
Hmm.
to hear, because as my grandma would say, honey, you need to mess or get off the pot.
There you go.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Wow. The thing about it is, listen, you know, like you said, everybody has a story. Mental health, which is very important, needs to be addressed
Yes.
to the layman of people that doesn't want to reach out. They're scared. They're petrified. They don't know how to come out with it. So in addition with the book that I'm writing, I want to get involved into something involving mental health. I want to. I'm thinking about doing a coaching thing that's involved in my book, turn into a coaching kind of a class type thing. Trying to look for nonprofits to get around with that as well. I have a dear heart for people who is subjected to things such as mental health or mental illness, but is willing to try to open
Mhm.
up, because there
Mhm.
are people who just simply afraid of the close proximity of trying to open themselves up with that. I'm one
Right.
of those people that, again, it's like you got to make these sound decisions on whatever you want to choose to do. But it starts with you. No one is going to love you better than
Mhm.
you. And you have
Yes.
to love yourself first. It is tough out there in this world, LaQuita. It is very, very tough to overcome these things. You see my nose, and I say this on some of those speaking engagements. You see my nose, you smell things, right? With your nose.
Yep.
With your mouth, you smell your breath.
That's
It's
right.
a bad breath. But what happens is you smell your breath. But when you block your nose, you can't smell your breath.
Amazing.
But a lot of people can, and a lot of people are gonna say that you just bad and you just this and you that. And the point is, open your nose. Don't be afraid. Open it up so you can smell how you are with these things. Because if you judge other people based on their intuitions and mental illnesses, and everything, watch yourself first. The emotional intelligence and the emotional conditions are being run by a spirit that you should not let happen. If you're gonna let the spirit come through you like that, then you done already lost the
Oh,
game.
wow.
And don't do that. Don't take in the bait of anybody derailing that spirit, because your story is gone. Everything is stealing away from you. That's scary. But it's not impossible to overcome these things with introspection. Sometimes you need to walk away from the relationships and go out once or two times and come on out. It's wonderful. Sometimes you need to decompress and go to the beach and relax, get away from everybody. Sometimes you need to get on that plane and go high like an eagle. But what happens is when you do that, you are really for the first time realizing that there is a transformative life of your true internal self. People are so afraid to do that, Quito. And then sometimes people are afraid to, not afraid, but they're too egotistical to realize that too. They got that shield on them. Well, my message is this, okay? Love yourself.
Oh, yes.
Yourself,
Yes.
love yourself within. And I
Yes.
promise you, this world would be a better place. No one is perfect, so don't make yourself as perfect as you think you are. But just live out every day when you wake up, knowing that you got a purpose to live. And if you have that purpose lived, then nothing else really matters to other people. What matters is what you do when you wake up, especially if you're by yourself like me, because you can do it. You can make
Yes.
it happen. You don't need to clean on other people. You don't need to have that solid like attraction connection, whatever. Sometimes disconnection may be the great thing for you. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying don't conform with everybody. Everybody needs somebody. I get that. But for once in a while, let's look at self first. Because to me, a relationship will work is if that person on one end's got their options in their life together and the other person's got their options in life together and they come together. Once that happens, you're unbreakable. but it starts with you knowing your purpose. And that's all we're doing. That's all Quita's doing. That's all I'm doing. That's all we're doing. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. So Curtis, how can they reach you if they want to reach out to you? How can the listeners and the viewers connect with you, and where can they purchase your book?
Okay. Go to www.kurtstrideabrams.com. CurtStrideAbrams. Go there, and it'll just take you where you can get it in terms of the Amazon purchase, Barnes and Noble purchase, Kindle purchase, ebook, and I'm about to do a audio book on it too. I'm working on that right now, so I'm getting that available. I am on Facebook, Curtis Abrams or Kurt Stride Abrams. I am on Instagram, Kurt Stride 01. Twitter, we're in the bounce with that. Now, TikTok, I'm on TikTok, but I ain't dancing, so don't even look for it, okay? I might be nice to surprise you guys one day. I don't know. Maybe I'll outdance anybody. But then again, it's all about informativeness and giving something back to people, okay? But I'm reaching out to those areas. And like I said, just follow me and we can work something out. Like I said, I'm trying to working on nonprofit stuff. Oh, I do speaking engagements too. I'm working with a good friend of mine named Ebony, the Ebonizer. She's a sweet lady. George Brooks, he runs the Meta Association. He's pretty good. Candace Joseph's a sweet, sweet lady. Kelly Cole was the one that helped me publish the book. Kelly Cole, that's Publish Advantage Group. So those guys are so nice. And, I just want to thank everybody to just having me to get that ability for me to have my self-worth available. You know what I'm saying? And awesome. I just love the fact that I can hopefully make a difference to that one person, if not the whole world. If I can leave something behind, at least I can leave something knowing that I've done something to enunciate and to, to gravitate to your true internal valueness of how you are. And if this book is good enough, then we're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Curtis. That was amazing. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my guest. I know that you are super busy. I love what you've done, what you've put together. And guys, listen, go to kurtstrideabrams.com, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And pick up the book. Connect with Curtis on Instagram and TikTok and on Facebook, and connect with him and get the book and read more.
I got YouTube channels. I'm sorry,
YouTube channels. And so I am your host. I am your host, LaQuita Parks. And again, if you have a story, and I know that you do, I can help you take your story from a thought to a realization. No matter where you are in your story writing journey. If you have a story and you're trying to figure it out, I can help you figure it out. I can help you put together your story and identify what aspects of your story you want to tell. If you've started writing your story, you find yourself stuck, I can help you get unstuck. And if you've written a story and you're ready to publish it, I can help you do that too. So if you're looking to be in an anthology, there is a wonderful magazine. I Am Magazine, International Magazine, is a magazine. It's global, where there are amazing stories from health and wellness to mental health to fashion, anything you can think of in this magazine. Reach out to iammagazine.com. And we're doing an anthology. And if you have your story, Curtis, you might be interested in putting your story into pieces of your story into an anthology. It is the I Am Magazine anthology, Matters of the Heart. Matters of the Heart. It's going to come out soon. So connect with I Am Magazine. Until next time, I am LaQuita Parks, your host, and you can reach me at www.payprovipublishing.com. That's PAPROVI publishing.com. And guess what? That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It has been a plump, pleasing pleasure, better than a triple deck of peanut butter and jelly sandwich. All right. Thank you so much. Until next time. Curtis, did you have any last words?
All it takes, people, it takes nothing but one person to believe in you.
Believe in you. You heard it here. Thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you here next Thursday. Same bat time, same bat station. Goodbye.
Mm. Thank you. Oh God. Okay.
I think were we still live?
Are we?
I think so. It says